morning. This is a video about the Bell & Howell 1436FEGLS. This is a light bar. It's sold as like an emergency light where you plug it into power and it will charge the batteries inside, or you can turn it on and use it as a light source, but if you lose power it will automatically turn on. It is powered inside by a pair of lead acid batteries. These are 4-volt lead acid batteries. There's 2 of them. They are in parallel, and after much searching I finally found someone who used to still sell them, that had any kind of specs whatsoever, and they are rated at 1500 milliamps each. So theoretically this light bar had a total of 3000 milliamps or 3 amp hours runtime. I did some testing on this, and there's a lot of videos about these things, especially people modifying them. This whole LED rack, instead of running off of some kind of series parallel, these are all these LEDs, all 60 of them are in parallel. So you've got approximately 3 to 3.2 volts, and I did some testing and I could not get a consistent reading because I don't know the maximum voltage of these, but they draw somewhere, if you go all the way up to 3.3 volts, they will draw about a total of 1 amp, and if you drop it down to 3 volts it's about 450 milliamps. And once again, I don't have any specs on them, so what I did was I kind of picked something in the middle. I ran them until they drew 10 milliamps, and that equated to 600 milliamps total draw from the batteries, and that was approximately 3.1 volts. So what I've done with this, I have a previous video about it, what I've done with it is I've converted it to 18650 batteries, and I'll show you how I did that. I don't have detailed instructions, and I'm not going to have detailed instructions. The instructions are as you see here. So let me zoom in on this. And also, this is what was originally in this thing. It's a combination voltage. It drops the voltage somehow, and then outputs a charging voltage, and the voltage to the has some kind of switching power supply or something, and outputs the approximately 3 volts to the LEDs. Well, I got this from a Goodwill, and I didn't pay much money for it, which is good, because the prices that people want for this of $20 is, I would call it a ripoff for what you get. So here's what I did. I took 2 18650 batteries that are rated at 3350 milliamp hours and put them in parallel. I applied a small BMS, and then that goes into this J5019 BMS boost converter. The output of that, because this thing, there's nobody makes one of these that's a buck converter. They make boost converters. So, well, there's only one boost converter. Everything else just outputs the voltage as it is from the battery. I outputted the boosted voltage, which I boosted to 5 volts, into this small buck converter that I drop it down to 3.1 volts, and this large capacitor here is to stabilize the incoming voltage, because it seems that this was very difficult. This little buck converter was very difficult to configure for exactly 3.1 volts. When I was originally trying to adjust it, it was jumping all over the place. It was very hard to get a consistent reading until I put this 220 microfarad 16 volt capacitor on the input side, and when I did that, the voltage stabilized better and I was able to set it. It was still difficult, but it was doable. This is my input for charging. It goes into this thing. You could actually charge it with a mini USB. And then I took these two pieces of light pipe and tried to get them roughly over the red and the green light so that I could see them from the outside. And you can sort of see the red light, and you can definitely see the green light when it finishes charging. And that was the one I really wanted to see, was the green light. If in a dark room you can see a little bit of red light coming through both of these, but when it finishes charging, you definitely see the green light through this one. Everything is held in with hot glue, and I reused the switch on the side. And I covered up there was a low and an emergency setting or whatever. I covered those up with a little label, so it just has off and high, and marked this as not used because it's not used. And as you see, I put this on the side with the marking of 5 volts, 2 amps, and information about what the lights mean. You can run this with the power in plugged in, or you can run it with power not plugged in. So I'll turn it on here. And plug your power. Runtime for this theoretically should be about 12 hours, but you know, I think 8 to 10 would be more realistic. Charging time is going to be approximately 6 hours, because of this is a maximum charge rate of 1 or 1.2 amps. That's it. Now this thing's actually useful. These lead acid batteries are near impossible to get. They don't last very long, both in runtime and in general use. I figure if you got 2 years out of these, you'd be lucky, and these will last at least 10, at minimum 10. I think that's it. Thanks for watching.